Anthony Conright, a writer focused on U.S. history, argues in a New York Times guest essay that the term Civil War is a lie and we should once again call it the Slaveholders' Rebellion. The piece opens with President Trump's statement on the anniversary of Robert E. Lee's surrender at Appomattox. Trump described the Confederacy's defeat in 1865 as the end of 4 brutal years of suffering but did not condemn the Confederacy's treason or name slavery as the cause for which it fought. Instead, Trump quoted Ulysses Grant's remarks to the vanquished army, "The war is over. The rebels are our countrymen again." Conright writes that rebranding rebellion is nothing new. Americans take it for granted that the war between the Confederate States and the Union was always called the Civil War, but it was not. During the war and in its aftermath, it was primarily called an insurrection or a rebellion. Its current name is a result of decades of lobbying by Confederate heritage groups and white Southerners committed to rejuvenating the South's image and ignoring its treason and slaveholding. As Mr. Trump and his allies try to whitewash the January 6, 2021 insurrection, Conright says we should return to an older and far more accurate name for the Civil War. We should once again call it the Slaveholders' Rebellion. He asks, if a country unquestioningly adopts language that obscures its bloodiest crimes to absolve their worst perpetrators, how can we expect successive generations to remember the new assaults on democracy without deploying equally forgiving language? In the war's early years, the South's rebelliousness was emphasized in part as a legal necessity. Congress was underlining the president's constitutional authority to call forth the militia to suppress the Southern revolt. But in the decades after Lee's surrender, Confederate heritage groups lobbied Congress, educators, and the broader public to adopt a name for the war that avoided calling the Southerners rebels. The use of slaveholders' rebellion began early. Senator Samuel Pomeroy's July 1861 bill to suppress the Slaveholders' Rebellion was one instance. But the language was subject to debate. One senator who later defected to the Confederacy said it created odium and prejudice against a particular interest, that is, slavery. Conventions shifted only decades after the war, when white Southerners and their representatives in Congress collaborated to rewrite the history of the conflict. In 1899, one group pushed to expunge references to rebellion from historical and public discussion of the war. They preferred the misnomer war between the states, freeing the Confederacy of the stigma of revolt. From 1905 to 1911, the campaign's sympathizers in Congress moved to strike War of the Rebellion, the common name at the time, from legislation. Civil War became a compromise solution, mollifying Confederate nostalgics while being more acceptable to their opponents than war between the states. Other nomenclature followed. The Dewey Decimal System shifted its classification from rebellion, Southern in 1876 to, the article ends there. Conright's essay reminds us that the words we choose for history shape how we understand the present. Thanks for listening.